What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction. So excited about this video. If you're new to us
and we're new to you,
make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell
because we're on the road to 200K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, alright? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Let's get it.
Being an African American in New Zealand. Okay, well, maybe not New Zealand, more like Auckland. I've pretty much only been in Auckland, so yeah. African American in Auckland. So none of the things have I thought, oh, this is so horrible. They're just different. So just as a caveat, as a caution, anything that I say, I hope I'm not offending anyone, because I haven't been offended by anything that I would say. It's just differences, and I think that African Americans, as they travel, I'm hoping that this will be some kind of insight for you, because I couldn't find anything about New Zealand, African Americans in New Zealand, how they're seen and all of that kind of stuff. So,
and I'd like to mention as well, because I made a comment about this before, that just because things are similar, people would love to make it positive. But the second it becomes a difference, then we don't do that here, this, and the third, they paint it negative.
Right.
So just because it's different don't mean it's negative. It's just different.
Let's see what's going on.
This is just for any African American who wants one person's look into their experience, or just anybody who's curious. I really knew before I went there, I actually looked online and kind of checked out what are the demographics, you know, what kind of people are there, and everyone's there, but there is quite a shortage of African Americans. So if you go to Auckland, don't be alarmed if you don't see a lot of African Americans. There are Americans, there are black people, which we'll get to, just not a lot of African Americans. So yeah, that's number one, not a lot of African Americans. So everybody that I've met there, pretty much, for most people, I'm the first African American they've ever met in their life.
Wow.
So, and as you can tell, I'm not necessarily stereotypical of what you would see on TV or the news or whatever of African Americans. We're very diverse people, very diverse culture, and so it's really hard to kind of peg everyone to look the same, but I definitely don't fit the stereotype. So that was very interesting. People asking me, where are you from? And I'm like, oh, the U.S. And they're like, no, where are you from? And I'm like, well, I'm from Arizona. But where are you from? I'm like, where are we going? What are we getting to? I'm from Arizona. I was born in Milwaukee. Like, I just did not know what people were asking. And I think what I've come to after about 2 years there is that people are trying to ask me, are you African American? You have African roots? Then where are you from in Africa?
Exactly.
And so I've had some people, after they get to know me, say, so do you know where your family's from in Africa? And I have to tell them, look, my family has white, has probably some kind of European something going on, has Native American, and African American roots.
So to me, it sounds like it's almost a conversation starter. Out of curiosity, to an extent, depending upon how the conversation is flowing or what it sounds like when it's being asked. But other than that, from what she's expressing, because she said no bad experiences.
Right.
This has to be like a conversation starter.
Yeah, I feel like as Americans, we just expect everyone to know our history, you know?
Yeah, I get you.
And because we are descendants of enslaved Africans in America, and then they only see African Americans, so they're thinking recent history.
Yeah, but I was also thinking that for some people who don't know their history, it just goes to show you that everyone else know you, but you.
Yeah, but I think it's more so they don't understand that we are descendants of enslaved Africans in America.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Because they way down there.
Yeah, but
they down there.
And then the question goes, do they even learn that in school at all?
I mean,
I think we've been down that road, kind of.
Yeah, I think because we have heard it so many times on the channel about people asking African Americans when they travel abroad where they're really from. I think now we would know what they're asking.
Yeah.
But if we hadn't heard it so many times from watching these black and blah, blah, blah country videos, it would come as a surprise to us. But I think it's just people don't know African American history.
Yeah,
in the United States.
I mean, this will be the stopping point.
Yeah, I mean, but like you say, it's a conversation starter.
Yeah.
You know, educate the people.
Okay.
I'm from everywhere, to answer the question you're really trying to ask. So that's pretty much how it's been, like, trying to tell people where I'm from. There are black people there. When I first got there, I was really kind of shocked by how many black people that I saw, even though it wasn't a lot, because I was expecting, okay, no black people, but there are black people. So there are people who when I would look at them, I would say, okay, you're black. And everyone that I've met, they're African, right? They're from somewhere in Africa. So they're Nigerian, Zimbabwean, all kinds of places, okay, and Kenyan. So a lot of people that when you would see them and you say, oh, that's a black person, they're from some country in Africa. So my whole understanding of who is black and who is not has been completely, like, blown away. Because people who I would see, like, I'd see them and I see, oh, and I wouldn't call them black. Their skin has some kind of brown in it, but I wouldn't call them black. But as I'm talking to them, they're referring to themselves as black. And so it's been a whole new world. So what am I talking about? There is a very large population of Pacific Islanders and Maori people in Auckland, okay? The Maori people, they were there when the Europeans came and colonized. And so they do have their I hope I'm telling the history right. I think that they were there in New Zealand for a very, very long time, but they believe, historians or anthropologists or whoever studies it, believes that they came from other Pacific Islands. So a long time before the Europeans got there. So they have brown skin. So I would call them Pacific Islanders because New Zealand is in the Pacific Islands. But
I think I had that same reaction as well.
Yeah.
We were watching a video about their experience of being Aboriginal or black. I don't remember the title of the video. And one of them had said, I'm just black. And I was like, wait, y'all call yourself black too? And they was like, yeah, we're black fellas. Something like that. And that was a learning experience for me too, because that took me out of the space of America.
Yeah.
You know, here, yes, we're black. I think we have solidified that. Okay, we black. But people perceive blackness in different ways around the world.
True.
So that was my first time hearing that as well.
Yeah, I heard that.
I have run across Maori people who call themselves black. As well as other Pacific Islanders. So it's just kind of like, what? So a story. Right when I got there, I met this woman at a church, and we were talking, you know, getting to know each other's stuff, and she said something about being black, and I was like, you must be joking, because, you know, you're obviously not black. I didn't say that, but
I think another reason why we would have that first impression as being African Americans is because in the United States we have to check all of these boxes. So we're very aware of who's black here and who's not.
Correct.
Because here they would check what? Pacific Islander?
They can.
That's a box, right? So our supporters who are here in the United States who are Pacific Islanders, what are your thoughts on that? Like what box do you check? Like, do you check both? Let us know.
Yeah, I remember those conversations. Even all the way down to the professor, and he had all the students lined up, and he was like, "But if your mother is this and you grew up here, how are you identifying here? Because if you was there, you identify as what you are there.
Right.
But since you're moved here or grew here, you identify differently because applications ask for different stamps. You know what I'm saying?
Right. These social constructs and racial.
Yeah. It is confusing.
It gets irritating after a while.
But I think that's a straight line to it once you understand.
Yeah.
Like, once you understand it, you know which boxes you're supposed to check. So, yeah.
I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, so I just laughed. And she's like, yeah, a lot of people don't think that I'm black, but I'm half black and white. And I'm like, really? Because you are the lightest black person I have ever seen in my life. And she's not albino. So I was like, okay. And then it was like, really? She's talking about, and so at the time she didn't say Maori, she didn't say Samoan, Fijian, she didn't say that, she just said half black, and I was like, what the heck is that? Like, you are not black, is my head, is what I'm thinking. Because in my head, the only time people say black, my experience, they're talking about African American. Why? Because I pretty much have only been here in the U.S., so.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, you're not black. But okay, this is weird, let me learn. I'm very open to learn things new and what people's perspectives are. So I just kind of, had in the back of my head. After meeting other Pacific Islanders, and they are referring to themselves as being black, or, and I'll go more into detail, like using like parts of the African American culture within their own culture, I was just like, what is this? This is so weird. Like, I have never known that Pacific Islanders really have any kind of feeling like brotherhood, sisterhood, solidarity,
Right.
or considering themselves black, or having that kind of connection to African American culture. I just did not know. So it was a new thing for me. So I was really
intrigued.
intrigued.
It's not a conversation, I don't think.
No, I feel like it comes from, what century was it? 15th, 16th, 17th century.
Where we at?
When they were writing all of these letters about white supremacy. The intellectuals were writing, that they were dominant, things like that. I think it's because of that. Because if you're not white,
then you had to identify as. Yeah.
You're the inferior race, like they called us, right? So I think maybe that's why.
Interesting. That's a good point.
Right. And when we reacted to some Samoan culture on the channel, they had the solidarity too, and we were even having conversations under the comment section about the whole Black Lives Matter movement, when the protests with the George Floyd happened and things like that, and they felt our pain too, and
right.
that was their pain as well.
Yeah.
So I feel like has something to do with just the supremacy and the social construct of how we all live our lives, whether we in the United States, whether we in Europe, New Zealand.
It's felt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, 100%.
I wanted to learn more, and so as I just started talking to people, I just started to learn more. And so I think what I've come to, and this is just me, my experience, is that I think that because Pacific Islanders and the Maori people, demographically, it's kind of similar to like their experience, their struggle, the racism, the all of the statistics that people look at, skewed or not, really kind of show Pacific Islanders and the Maori people in a bad light. But there also tends to be, in the lowest socioeconomic areas, are more Pacific Islanders, more Maori people, lower literacy rates, highest demographic of people in prison, things like that, which are very similar to African Americans in the U.S. And so I think that, at least from what people have told me, is that Pacific Islanders and the Maori people look to African Americans because there is that similarity, and they see African American people as being successful, as rising above, as going through the struggle and having some wins, and so they kind of look at African Americans with admiration. And so
well said.
I think everybody needs to hear this.
Yeah.
African Americans need to hear this, because a lot of the times we hear this, diaspora stuff. We hear that when it comes from Africans versus African Americans. And in another video we heard that Africans think African Americans feel that we are superior than them or anybody. And until you come here and you see that we dealing with our problems, so we ain't got time to think that we are superior than anybody.
Correct.
You know, we just trying to make our home in the United States better for us.
Right. And again, it's just like knowing your history, because when you know it, then you can compare and understand that it's similarities there.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And once you have those similarities, then you start to look at those groups, and then you start to understand that what they went through is no different from what we went through, in a sense of, you know what I'm saying? One may have more time period to it than the other, but it's a lot of ingrown, like, similarities, you know what I'm saying? It's like no differences.
So that's why I feel like it's important for us to hear things like that.
Yeah.
Because it's not just people in the African diaspora, you know, looking to us. It's people in the Black diaspora looking to us. People, the Pacific Islanders, that seeing us win gives them strength, give them hope.
You
know, and that's why I always just preach unity amongst people.
It's a feeling.
Yeah,
I like it though.
It's been very interesting being able to like get a whole nother look at what it means to be Black through other people's eyes, you know?
Wow.
And so for me, it's been like, whoa, I've never felt so Black in my life. Because I kind of felt like a little defensive, like, you're not Black, I'm Black, like. And then it's just like, well, considering that race is a social construct, I guess we all are Black. Because in your society, you're Black. That's all right. I mean, it's really not anything like that's rooted in really who you are, other than you identifying with it. So, all right, we're Black. So it's been very interesting, very interesting. It's funny because the people there, because, you know, I'm kind of lighter, and I've had quite a few people come up to me. I'm assuming they're Fijian. Some people I knew who have done this are Fijian, and they say "Bula," and I'm like, "Hi." Like,
she really
are you Fijian? I'm like, no, not at all. So a lot of people assume that I'm Fijian.
She really do. Once she said it, she really do. Oh,
she might want to go do some more research.
She said she got this, that at her. She really do.
And then you gotta understand, like, everything happened in season for her to move there. And then those connections and relations and that awakening, because now she's I did not expect this channel I didn't expect for her to speak about this. I'm thinking about the small, like, culture shocks, this, that, and the third, but she went into the real deep nitty gritty about understanding another people.
Right.
And then understanding that we're alike, you know what I'm saying?
This was a different topic for our little series that we do on the channel.
Yeah.
Being Black in different countries.
100%.
I like this topic.
Until I talk. Until I say hi. As soon as I say hi, they're like, whoa, wait a minute. This is the whitest Fijian I've ever seen. Oh, it's too funny. People's confused faces. But yeah, no, not Fijian. I am African American. So yeah, that's kind of one thing. And just another thing about being African American, which is very similar to being in the U.S., is that people are not familiar with our culture. They are familiar with stereotypes. They're familiar with music and all of this kind of things, but they're not really familiar with our culture, and they're not really familiar with, like, Black people. So, yeah, I'm explaining, what does ashy mean?
Oh,
like, can't see the gray on my legs.
Yeah.
I have to explain that multiple times. Wanting to touch my hair, asking me if I had a haircut, because the weather there is so, it's very, like, humid and very wet and rainy and stuff, and so my hair goes, it just, like, shrinks. And so people, the next day, people are like, oh, did you get a haircut? I'm like, nope. And I explain the whole thing about curly hair and what happens and all this stuff. And when I stretch it out, whoa, there's people like, what? Or they don't notice the difference. So yeah, it's been very interesting being African American in particular, not just Black. That's why I have to say African American. And that's the other thing, is that I've always been like, that's so weird to call myself African American. I'm Black. I'm Black. Okay, that's fine. I'm Black. Telling all my non-Black friends here in the U.S. I am, you can call me Black, that's fine. I'm Black, that's okay. It's just, it's not offensive to me. But there, one, Black doesn't mean the same thing that I think Black means, so it's a little like, oh, if I say I'm black people say yeah, and the white people say yeah, but that's not specifically what I'm talking about. If I talk about African American culture in the U.S., right, African American culture, and I say black, they say, oh yeah, I know someone like that, or I'll say, oh yeah, I haven't really met that many black people, and they're like, oh yeah, really, because I know a lot, and I'm like, oh no, I'm talking about African American. So having to, yeah, that's been new. So I refer to myself as African American more, or have to specify African American when I'm talking about African American culture, not just say black.
Because where's black?
So that's been a difference. Right. It's been interesting. So
share that.
Right.
Yeah. So why have I been in New Zealand? Well, I went to New Zealand. I've been there for 2 years. I went to Auckland to attend Bible college, Laidlaw College. Woo woo. And so it's a Bible college that I really felt the Lord leading me to go there. And so I've met quite a few, people at the college. I've interned at a couple churches, so I met people through there. And then I also am a speech therapist, so I worked part-time last year. So I've met people out at work, in the community, at schools, and stuff like that. So when I say my experiences as an African American in Auckland, then I have to obviously take into consideration that those are the kind of the circles, the people that I've met is only, obviously confounded to my spheres of influence and the people that I've met. So can't speak for anyone else. But yeah, that's been my experience. Thank you so much.
Alright, we're going to stop right there. Make sure you guys check our channel out. Like I said, it definitely took a turn. We so used to like culture shocks. People talking about the weather, the food, the prices, but she went into something really, really important, and I think a lot of people need to hear.
Definitely. Yeah. I think our people, Americans, African Americans, people across the diaspora, people, the Pacific Islanders, just hearing how, her thoughts about it and our thoughts about it. I think this was a nice topic to talk about.
Facts.
We haven't really dug into that yet.
Hey.
Like, we have reacted to Polynesian culture, Melanesia, other Pacific Islanders, Samoan, Maori, but we haven't talked about blackness really, other than that one video with the interviews. But
yeah.
This was an interesting topic. So we hope you guys enjoyed it with us. Be sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon.
Peace.